Okay, so we're starting 2-6 here. This is page 85. Group 6, 10 points. I don't know. A couple of these pages I'm not so worried about. You guys can fill this out as we go along here. 560 divided by 18. Well, I think it'd be much easier if we wrote an estimate of, let's say, 600 divided by, what do you think, Mr. Clifton? Yeah, I would use 20. Okay. And so my question, Mr. Clifton, is what is 6 divided by 2? Mr. Clifton, what is 6 divided by 2? 3. Thank you. Okay. So we know it's not 3, it's going to be 30. Okay. And then it says the first digit of the quotient will be in the tens place. Now's not the time. Thank you. Let's see here. I'm not going to worry about this. You can just put a line through that. Did I cross all of it out? No, I crossed out about half the page there. Okay. So, next page. This is page 86, example. So estimate 1,250 divided by 41. I think I would do 1,200 divided by, Ms. Dart, what do you think? Divided by what?
40.
Yeah, I would use 40. Good. Okay. And Miss Dart, how many times does 4 go into 12?
3 times.
Yeah, 3 times, so it's not going to be 3, it'll be 30. Good. And then if we actually did the division here, to check to see how close our answer is, we'd get 123 here, and there's going to be 20 left over. And we know that 41 will not go into 20, so the remainder is 20. And that's the answer right there that they gave us. Let's look at the next one. The next one, what are we doing here? Let's see if somebody recognizes what's, Mr. Milmore, what do you think is happening here? There's a relationship between these two. What are they doing? Well, it doesn't look like addition to me. I mean, it is down here, but not here.
Multiplication?
Right, they're doing multiplication. Why? What are they multiplying together?
Oh, they're trying to get the answer for the division.
Yeah, well, they're checking to see if they're right. They're multiplying these two together. Okay? And this will be 1,230. Okay? And this would be 1,230. And remember, you would multiply those two together and then add the remainder, and then you would get the same answer that they had. So we went over that last week. I think most of you remember how to do that. You'd multiply these two together and then add the remainder, and you should get what's inside the house or inside the box, however you want to look at it. Okay? I'm not worried about these two. Put a line through those. Oh, Mr. Yates can buy, it should be what, 30 boxes? All right, next page. So this is just more of what we've been doing. I'll do a couple of these with you guys. They're asking you to divide So this time they're not so worried. They're not asking you to estimate. They're actually asking you to divide. So let's do the first one here together. Well, the second one, number 2, I'm looking at. So it says 64 into 842. Okay. So let me pull a stick here. Miss Bowman, how many times does 64 go into 84? I'm going to move it over here so it's a little bit bigger. 842. A little bit easier to work with. 64 goes into 84 once. 4 from 4 is 0. 6 from 8 is 2. Now what do I do, Miss Bowman?
Bring down the 2.
Yeah, bring down the 2. Okay. And then the question is, how many times does 64 go into 202? Well, it goes into 84 once. We could try 64 twice. So 64, I could do 64 times 2, or I could do 64 plus 64. 4 and 4 is 8, and this is 12. So that's 128. Well, looks like we could even add another 64, doesn't it?
Yeah. 3?
Yeah, so I can move up here, since I'm kind of running out of room here. 64, I could do times 3. And Miss Bowman's 3 times 4 is?
12.
Put down the 2, carry the 1. 3 times 6 is?
12.
18. Plus 1 would be 19. So that's 192. Okay. So that's pretty close to 202. And if I added another 64, it would be way over. So I'm going to do 192. And I'll be subtracting that. And so that was 3 times. And so 2 from 2 is 0. And 9 from 0, we can't do that, so we have to borrow. That becomes a 1. That becomes 10. 1 left over. So the remainder is 10. So the answer is 13, remainder 10. Notice how I circled it so it's easy to spot. Questions on that one, anybody? No, Miss Bowman, 10 points. Let's see here. Mr. Montanez. Let's look at another one together here. How about number 12? I'll move this over. All right, I'm going to make myself some room. Well, I guess I could try to work with this. It's kind of small for me, but Mr. Montanez, how many times does 45 go into 9? Yeah, it doesn't. How about 95, though? How many times? 2 times. 45 and 45 is 90. Okay, and there's 5 left over. Now what do I do, Mr. Montanez?
9 goes into 9, 0 times.
What do I do? What's the next step I do? Okay, bring down the 0. Does 45 go into 50? Okay, how many times? Once. Okay, that's 45. What's left over?
5.
Yep.
Wait, you have to bring down the 0.
I'm not there yet. I just wrote the 5. Chill out. Chill out. Mr. Montanez, what's the next thing I do?
You bring down the 0.
Okay. 45 go into 50? One time. 5 left over. And that's the remainder, because there isn't any more zeros to bring down. So it's 211, remainder 5. All right. Questions on this, anybody? Okay, make sure you circle your answers so they're easy to grade. Now, some of you did your yesterday's homework like this. And you shouldn't have, because they were just asking you to estimate. So some of you missed a lot of questions. This time they are asking you to go ahead and do the regular division and if there's a remainder, to find it. Let's do one more. Now, of course, these ones down here at the very bottom. This. They don't give you any room to do any work. So you're just going to have to put an answer here. But let's go ahead and do one. 805 divided by 24. I'm going to do this one. This is number 18. 805 divided by 24. Okay. I want to make sure I have that right. 805 divided by 24. So, pull a stick here. Mr. Sanad. Is 24 going to 8?
No.
How about 80?
Yeah.
How many times do you think?
3.
3 times? What's 3 times 24? 24 times 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. 72. Yep, I think you're right. So I'm going to put a 3 right there. I'm going to put a 72 right here. What's left over? 72 from 80.
10?
No, that would be 82. How many times do you have to count up from 2 to get to 80? From 72 to get to 80? Well, 72, go ahead and count. I'll do it this way. 72, so you could count 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. How many of those are there? There's 8 of them.
8.
So there's 8 left over. Now what do I do?
Written down 4.
Yep. Now 24 into 85.
4.
4 times? Okay. So 24, let's see if he's right. 24 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. 96. That's too much. So 3 times again, looks like. Okay. So we already know what it is. It's 72, so we'll just go ahead and use it again. So it's going to be 33. Okay. Now what's left over? You subtract, go ahead and do it right now on your own. Subtract 72 from 85. Go ahead and do it. Yep, 13. Nicely done. 13. Remainder 13. So now I'm going to go right over here and I'm going to put down 33, remainder 13, and I'll circle it. Okay? So there's number 18 done for you. Questions? I mean, there's some big numbers in here. And if we hadn't had the fire drill, you guys would have even more time to work on this. But we had the fire drill. So questions on any of these? I did not know. I did not. Sometimes they tell us, sometimes they don't. Miss Bowman, question? Oh yeah, good question. Miss Bowman asked, can we use scratch paper for these ones at the bottom? And most certainly, because there's not enough room on the paper here to do any work. So yeah, use scratch paper like I did. The other ones, I would like to see your work on here for the other ones. They give you room. And it may get kind of busy looking, but that's okay. I mean, I had to make some room. So I'd like to see your work. You have to write neatly and small. CM, question?
If we do it in the scratch paper, 16 through 21, do we have to show you the paper?
I might ask for it, so don't throw away your scratch paper. He asked if I have to see your work, but keep it. I might want to see it.
But I have my scratch paper work all mixed up
Yeah.
on my scratch paper.
What's that?
My work is all mixed up on my scratch paper.
Well then, okay, so if your work is all mixed up on your scratch paper, then on your scratch paper I would label what the work is applying to. So if you're working on number 9 on a piece of scratch paper, put a little 9 by it and circle it so I know the work right there is pertaining to number 9. Other questions? Okay, I'll give you guys a few minutes to work on this.